When you work in the profession of selling, you really have to become immune to the word no. Sometimes new salespeople enter the profession without any advice or expectations about how much you're going to get rejected and how to deal with that rejection. If you're not prepared for rejection when you start working in the profession of selling, then you better be prepared for a big shock. Selling can often be about 99% rejection and 1% success. Maybe that does not apply to all sales positions, but I've certainly worked at some places in my career where that was the case. There are two core ingredients to the secret sauce of dealing with rejection. Number one is awareness of the rejection, which is what you're achieving right now. And number two is learning how not to take rejection personally. If you take rejection personally, then you will never succeed in this profession and will probably spend your days being either upset or extremely angry. Sales is a numbers game. That is a fact. Some businesses believe that driving in as many leads as possible and closing at a low close ratio works, whereas others prefer to go for the quality over quantity approach. But regardless of which approach your company takes, you'll always be dealing with more no's than yeses. I think it was one of my old bosses, Raj Singh, who once said to me that you should treat every no that you receive as being one no closer to your next yes. Now, at that time, I was an inexperienced sales rookie making over 100 calls a day trying to sell mobile phone contracts business to business. So, hearing the word no quickly became very familiar. In that job, we had a rule. For every 100 prospects we contacted, we would make a sale. Those were the numbers, and that was how I came to become immune to the word no and stop taking it so personally. In my mind, I simply thought, okay, if you say no, then that's good, because that is one less no I need to listen to, and it increases the chance that I'm coming closer to the yes in my next call. So, if you're a salesperson, you should ask your manager the average number of calls it takes to make a sale or book a meeting at your company. And if you're sales manager and you don't know that, then you might want to find that out. Like many things in life, dealing with rejection is much easier if expectations are set from the get-go. If you communicate and set expectations accurately, then things work much better. If people know what to expect, then they won't get frustrated or lose motivation before they really should do. Knowing how many calls or meetings it takes to close a sale not only sets the expectations, but also helps us quickly realize if we're doing things wrong or doing well. You see, if you work at a company where the average close ratio is 10%, then you know that if you're only closing at 2%, you must be doing something wrong, so you can quickly ask for help. Naturally, if you're new to a company or new to the profession of selling, you won't instantly always start closing at the same rate as everyone else, but your manager may be able to give you some good indications about, the expectations for you as a rookie. You see, if you start thinking of rejection and the word no as simply a number or step closer to your next sale, then you automatically stop taking rejection personally because you forget about it. Another great motivational way of dealing with rejection is to do your own calculations based on a financial figure. For example, if you know that each one of your sales is worth €1,000, dollars or pounds, and you know how many calls it takes to make a sale, then calculate how much each call is worth to you. E.g., if every sale you make is worth £1,000 and it takes you on average 50 calls to make a sale, then each and every call you make is actually worth £20, regardless of whether you get a yes, no, or a maybe. You should also treat rejection as a challenge. This will not only help you keep motivated, but will also improve you as a salesperson. Let me tell you about a little story of an old friend of mine from my younger days. Women used to find him rude and repulsive. And on top of that, he was also not the best looking fruit in the bowl either. But despite this, he was always the guy going home with a girl on his arm at the end of the night. Sure, his retention rate might have been terrible, but his new business rate was unbelievable. I watched him for years before finally figuring out what his trick was. Whereas most of us had some self-respect, or let's call it fear of rejection, he did not. He would actually try again and again, not only with the same girl, but even with her friends or anyone else who was in eyes distance. He treated girls as a challenge. He learned to love the word rejection and the word no and rejection and go back for more. And as a result, he always made a lot of sales without even having a very good product. So next time you think about taking rejection personally, just think about the ugly guy who always won the ladies to remind you that learning to love the word no pays.